And the collaboration between the National Cybersecurity Office is one of very deep collaboration, because we at the FIC see cybersecurity and cyber crime as one of the predicate offenses of money laundering and terrorist financing.
The National Communications Authority has supported the National Cybersecurity Center's efforts, which led to the accession of the Budapest Convention by Ghana.
From GCNet's perspective, we've come in as a public-private partner. We've partnered with the National Cybersecurity Secretariat. First, we sponsor the program because we believe that what the Secretariat is doing actually bodes well for the nation. Now, we have to actually understand that the times in which we are now are dangerous times with a lot of cybersecurity threats. There's a lot of ransoms, there are breaches taking place across the globe, and Ghana is no exception. And so the work of the Secretariat, we believe we need to support, because without that support, no international body will have the confidence to come and implement solutions in Ghana.
Within the last 3.5 years of our establishment as a center, we've achieved some significant milestones, including the following. The launch of the Safer Digital Ghana, which was done by the Vice President in 2018. The launch of the Point of Contact for Incident Reporting, which was launched by the Sector Minister, Honorable Eslosu Ekufo, in 2019. The development of the computer emergency response ecosystem, including a setup at the NCA, but also our engagement with the central bank for the financial sector. The revision of Ghana's national cybersecurity policy and strategy, which has been enhanced to the level of international standard. We've also drafted a cybersecurity bill which seeks to regulate the cybersecurity ecosystem of the country and to further consolidate our gains as far as our cybersecurity development is concerned. But most importantly, we've also signed up to 2 international conventions, which we are implementing. These are certain milestones which have also attracted international attention, including the Council of Europe, which has recognized Ghana as a hub for capacity building, ECOWAS Commission, which has then requested Ghana to lead cybersecurity in the sub-region, but also the World Bank, which has further built the confidence in investing in our digital economy. I think we haven't gotten it yet. We're still on a journey, as a matter of fact, but they are critical milestones. The main reason is the fact that we have a strong political commitment to cybersecurity. Take this from me as advisor. I think political commitment has been one of the fundamental successes, determinant that has really brought us this far. But most importantly, I think we've also been privileged to have a champion for cybersecurity in the person of the Minister for Communications, Honorable Eslosu, who has persistently led the fights, led the charge towards improving Ghana's cybersecurity readiness. I think we're grateful for the leadership of the country, but also for the technical working group for their support in getting to where we have gotten to. Let's continue and scale up our digital protection.
The technical working group has been divided into subgroups. We have the criminal justice, defense and intelligence, stakeholder engagement sub-working group, and the set, that's the computer emergency response team sub-working groups. And all these groups have worked assiduously to see the level that we have in cybersecurity as a nation. And outside this country, Ghana is recognized as one of the leading nations when it comes to cybersecurity.
NCA is the telecommunications sector regulator in Ghana. Telecommunications is one of the critical sectors according to Ghana's national cybersecurity strategy and policy. Now, in the past, there has only been SEGH that was established in 2014, but following the efforts by government, several sectors, including telecommunications, have set up cybersecurity teams and sets, of which NCA is one.
Being a member of the National Cyber Technical Working Group has been very profitable both to my institution, to the group, and also to the National Cybersecurity Center. In this wise, there have been certain occasions where discussions has led us to get people to help my institution. And as I speak, as a part or a member of the criminal justice sector, we were able to negotiate successfully with the FBI, or let's call the legal attaché of the US Embassy, and YOCO, the Ghana Police Service, were equipped with tools to forensically examine digital devices. And as I speak, they have given us computers, they have given us tools, they have also established a lab for us. If it has not been because of the national cybersecurity collaboration, we wouldn't have come this far.
Our contribution is very significant in the sense that when you look at the different areas that the critical national infrastructure falls in, everyone and every entity for that matter uses personal data for different purposes. For collecting data on travelers or employees or citizens one way or the other, people who are doing the right thing, people who are malicious and trying to do the wrong things. All these categories of individuals have rights under the Data Protection Act to be protected.
The mandate for the FIC and the collaboration between the National Cybersecurity Office is one of very deep collaboration, because we at the FIC see cybersecurity and cyber crime as one of the predicate offenses of money laundering and terrorist financing.
The National Communications Authority has supported the National Cybersecurity Center's efforts, which led to the accession of the Budapest Convention by Ghana.
From GCNet's perspective, we've come in as a public-private partner. We've partnered with the National Cybersecurity Secretariat. First, we sponsor the program because we believe that what the Secretariat is doing actually bodes well for the nation. Now, we have to actually understand that the times in which we are now are dangerous times with a lot of cybersecurity threats. There's a lot of ransoms, there are breaches taking place across the globe, and Ghana is no exception. And so the work of the Secretariat, we believe we need to support, because without that support, no international body will have the confidence to come and implement solutions in Ghana.
Within the last 3.5 years of our establishment as a center, we've achieved some significant milestones, including the following. The launch of the Safer Digital Ghana, which was done by the Vice President in 2018. The launch of the Point of Contact for Incident Reporting, which was launched by the Sector Minister, Honorable Wesley Akufo, in 2019. The development of the Computer Emergency Response ecosystem, including a setup at the NCA, but also our engagement with the Central Bank for the financial sector. The revision of Ghana's National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy, which has been enhanced to the level of international standard. We've also drafted a cybersecurity bill which seeks to regulate the cybersecurity ecosystem of the country and to further consolidate our gains as far as our cybersecurity development is concerned. But most importantly, we've also signed up to 2 international conventions, which we are implementing. These are certain milestones which have also attracted international attention, including the Council of Europe, which has recognized Ghana as a hub for capacity building, ECOWAS Commission, which has then requested Ghana to lead cybersecurity in the sub-region, but also the World Bank, which has further built the confidence in investing in our digital economy. I think we haven't gotten it yet. We're still on a journey. As a matter of fact, critical milestone. The main reason is the fact that we have a strong political commitment to cybersecurity. Take this from me as advisor. I think political commitment has been one of the fundamental successes, determinant that has really brought us this far. But most importantly, I think we've also been privileged to have a champion for cybersecurity in the person of the Minister for Communications, Honorable Esla, who has persistently led the fights, led the charge towards improving Ghana's cybersecurity readiness. I think we're grateful for the leadership of the country, but also for the technical working group for their support in getting to where we have gotten to. Let's continue and scale up our digital protection.
The technical working group has been divided into subgroups. We have the criminal justice, defense and intelligence, stakeholder engagement sub-working group, and the SET, that's the computer emergency response team sub-working groups. And all these groups have worked assiduously to see the level that we have in cybersecurity as a nation. And outside this country, Ghana is recognized as one of the leading nations when it comes to cybersecurity.
NCA is the telecommunications sector regulator in Ghana. Telecommunications is one of the critical sectors, according to Ghana's national cybersecurity strategy and policy. Now, in the past, there has only been CERGH that was established in 2014, but following the efforts by government, several sectors, including telecommunications, have set up cybersecurity teams and sets, of which NCA is one.
Being a member of the National Cyber Technical Working Group has been very profitable both to my institution, to the group, and also to the National Cybersecurity Center. In this wise, there have been certain occasions where discussions has led us to get people to help my institution. And as I speak, as a part or a member of the criminal justice sector, we were able to negotiate successfully with the FBI, or let's call the legal attaché of the US Embassy, and YOCO, the Ghana Police Service, were equipped with tools to forensically examine digital devices. And as I speak, they have given us computers, they have given us tools, they have also established a lab for us. If it has not been because of the national cybersecurity collaboration, we wouldn't have come this far.
Our contribution is very significant in the sense that when you look at the different areas that the critical national infrastructure falls in, everyone and every entity for that matter uses personal data for different purposes. For collecting data on travelers or employees or citizens one way or the other, people who are doing the right thing, people who are malicious and trying to do the wrong things. All these categories of individuals have rights under the Data Protection Act to be protected.
The mandate for the FIC and the collaboration between the National Cybersecurity Office is one of very deep collaboration, because we at the FIC see cybersecurity and cyber crime as one of the predicate offenses of money laundering and terrorist financing.
The National Communications Authority has supported the National Cybersecurity Center's efforts, which led to the accession of the Budapest Convention by Ghana.
From GCNet's perspective, we've come in as a public-private partner. We've partnered with the National Cybersecurity Secretariat. First, we sponsor the program because we believe that what the Secretariat is doing actually bodes well for the nation. Now, we have to actually understand that the times in which we are now are dangerous times with a lot of cybersecurity threats. There's a lot of ransoms, there are breaches taking place across the globe, and Ghana is no exception. And so the work of the Secretariat, we believe we need to support, because without that support, no international body would be will have the confidence to come and implement solutions in Ghana.
Within the last 3.5 years of our establishment as a center,
abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukuvakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela abane ithando lwakho dala imilingi sukuma ishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukuvakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela abane nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo lilo wo haya somlilo namalanga bavutha umlilo nangulomlilo bavutha umlilo namalanga bavutha umlilo nangulomlilo umlilo namalangabe, wavutha umlilo nangula umlilo. Wavutha umlilo namalangabe, wavutha umlilo nangula umlilo. Wavutha umlilo namalangabe, wavutha umlilo, wavutha umlilo nangula umlilo, lilo 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 lilo, umlilo lilo 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 lilo, umlilo lilo 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 lilo, umlilo lilo lilo, whoa, higher, yeah, ooh.
Under the Cybersecurity Advisor and the convener of this program, Dr. Albert Anchubuesiakon. Director General of NITA, Mr. Richard Ochrifosu. Director of Health Promotions from Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dacosta Boaji. Representative of CalBank, Mr. Philip Redu. Representative of the Managing Director of Accra Digital Center, David Ofori. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to week 2, day 1 of NACSAM 2020, dubbed the Cybersecurity in the Era of COVID-19. This forum is to discuss the impact of COVID-19 on Ghana's digitalization agenda. My name is Frederick Wachimafo, the lead for Critical National Information Infrastructure at the National Cybersecurity Center. Respectfully, shall we be upstanding for a moment of prayer? Our Father in heaven, we thank you for a wonderful day you have made. We thank you for our health. We thank you for this opportunity to meet, to discuss the effect of this pandemic on Ghana's digitalization agenda. Father, may this meeting be fruitful. May this meeting be interactive. May the Holy Spirit guide us. We ask for clear mind and focus. In the end of it all, may your name be truly glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Shall we be seated? Shall we have the opening remarks by Dr. Albert Anchubuesiakon?
Isn't this others working? The Honorable Deputy Minister for Communications, an MP for Utusenya West, Honorable George Anda, the Director General of the National Information Technology Agency, Mr. Richard Ochrifosu, the MD of CalBank, Mr. Philip Redu, heads of agencies, representatives from the business community, reps from the ministry and the National Cybersecurity Center, everybody following this session through our various virtual channels. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to express my appreciation to the leadership of this critical sector, the information and communications technology sector, for the leadership and guidance over the past 3.5 years. Our appreciation goes to the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for his leadership, wisdom, and commitment to build a resilient digital economy. My appreciation also goes to the Minister for Communications and MP for Ablekuma West, Honorable Esla Usu-Ekufo. I had 2 able deputy ministers, Honorable George Anda, who is delivering the keynote address this morning, and also Honorable Alexander Aband for their unflinching support to the National Cybersecurity Center. Of course, Honorable Esla Usu-Ekufo established the National Cybersecurity Center in 2018, so there is no doubt about her commitment to our work, but above all, high commitment to the development of Ghana's cybersecurity ecosystem. We appreciate the political commitment which has also brought a number of private sector and international partners on board for the development of Ghana's cybersecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, the advent of COVID-19 pandemic has occasioned a certain shift from physical interactions and engagement to an increased reliance on digital platforms. This movement has been motivated by the necessary imposition of certain measures which restricted movement and limited access to physical space and contact. We have one of the key actors of our COVID-19 protocols here with us who will be sharing his perspective. Consequently, ICT has become the heartbeat of various forms of interactions and activities in this era, and countries around the world have deployed diverse ICT tools to respond to the demands of the time. The session today is expected to investigate and explore the diverse areas COVID-19 has impacted on our digitalization efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, as the world witnessed a surge in the use of ICT tools and a consequent increase in interactions in the digital ecosystem, it is imperative that attention is given to the threats end users face online. The increasing use of IT infrastructure should be complemented adequately with measures to protect users from potential cyber attacks. The threat Ghana faces are no different from other countries: cyber fraud, publication of non-consensual intimate images, misinformation, phishing attacks, online impersonation, identity theft, child online abuse, distributed denial of service attacks, and ransomware are among the top 10 cybersecurity incidents recorded by Ghana. This information was compiled through the report received by the National Cybersecurity Center through the cybercrime, cybersecurity incident points of contact, and also reports from the sectorial computer emergency response teams and institutions, including our own NITA, but also the Criminal Investigation Department. In view of the cybersecurity threat faced by Ghana, the National Cybersecurity Center has undertaken a number of initiatives under the direction of the Ministry of Communications. These include a revision of Ghana's national cybersecurity policy and strategy to provide strategic guidance and roadmap for Ghana's cybersecurity, the development of the computer emergency response team ecosystem, including the establishment of a security operations center to secure IT systems of MDAs. This innovative intervention will be launched later in the month at the premises of the National Information Technology Agency, and I believe the director himself will speak to the matter later on when he takes the floor. The introduction of a cybersecurity bill to further strengthen the legal regime for Ghana's cybersecurity development, including the protection of critical information infrastructure, the implementation of the Safer Digital Ghana program, which was launched by the Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, as well as the launch of the POC for incident reporting. Ladies and gentlemen, the POC for cybersecurity incident reporting, which was launched in 2019 by the Minister for Communications to facilitate the reporting of cybersecurity incidents, has become a national asset in view of its continuous impact on the ordinary citizen. The POC has saved over 5,000 Ghanaians from potential cyber fraud between the period of January to August 2020. Many more people during this period under review called the POC to seek for guidance and advisory in resolving potential cybersecurity incidents, including those who were nearly defrauded by cyber fraudsters, as well as criminals who were exploiting COVID-19 related teams to target unsuspecting citizens. Please, I'm therefore encouraging the public to seek for the necessary guidance and advisory from the National Cybersecurity Center to prevent falling victim to the cyber crimes. Please speak to the POC officers on 292 before you start to engage on potential incident that could lead to fraud. Before you part with the money, as the online transaction that you may be involved may constitute fraud. The National Cybersecurity Center will continue to engage with all relevant stakeholders to ensure the resilience of Ghana's digital ecosystem. Let me also take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to urge businesses to actively support employees to develop a safer cyber culture through awareness creation, education, and training programs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, your presence here and participation in today's event is a reflection of our joint commitment to the overall cybersecurity development of this great nation. I therefore encourage us all to continue to support government and the private sector as we seek to consolidate our effort towards securing Ghana's digital journey, especially in this era of COVID-19. I appreciate your participation. Thank you very much.
National Cybersecurity Advisor, for delivering their opening remarks. Shall we have the Deputy Minister for Communication deliver a keynote speech? Shall we welcome him?
Thank you very much. And thank you, Albert, for the great opening remarks. The National Cybersecurity Advisor, Dr. Albert Entry Bosiakon, the Managing Director and Rep for the Accra Digital Center, the Acting Director General, the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, Mr. Abraham Kofi Asante, or his rep, the rep of Ghana Post, the rep of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, the MD of Carl Merchant Bank, Director General NATO, members of the National Cybersecurity Technical Working Group, representatives from the Ghana Health Service, representatives from the various ministries, our friends from the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I warmly welcome all of you to today's Roundtable Forum, which is aimed at engaging various stakeholders and experts to evaluate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on Ghana's digitization agenda. I also wish to extend greetings from the Honorable Minister for Communications, who, together with His Excellency the Vice President, continue to demonstrate great leadership and commitment to securing and delivering Ghana's digital journey. I must commend your participation in the previous week's activity, which focused exclusively on child online protection and its intricacies. The government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in embracing change and creating a cyber-centric economy, has pursued an agenda to transform the nation through digitization. In this regard, government has implemented various digital initiatives, including but not limited to e-Parliament, the paperless support system, e-Justice, e-Procurement, e-Passport, mobile money interoperability, amongst others. These initiatives have not only made services more accessible to the public, but have also made Ghana a hub of excellence in cybersecurity. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a paradigm shift in various aspects of the socio-economic lives of nations and has challenged the resilience of our cyber system and that of the global community. The ever-dynamic trend of cybercrime, according to the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, increases daily as the global digitization citizenship surges. The presence of cyber criminals online puts critical infrastructure at risk, since their confidentiality, integrity, and availability risk being compromised and consequently deprive people of critical services. An Interpol assessment of the impact of the COVID-19 on cybercrime has revealed that major corporations, government, and critical infrastructure have become targets for cyber criminals since the outbreak of this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, globally, this pandemic has had immense impact on all sectors, including education, health, commerce, tourism. As of the 6th of May 2020, UNESCO had estimated that 177 countries have closed schools nationwide, impacting over 1.2 billion learners globally. UNICEF has also indicated that 186 countries are currently implementing nationwide closures, and 8 of these countries are implementing local closures, which have impacted about 98.5% of the world's students' population. The government of Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in the best interest of our students, postponed the academic year for those below senior high school to 2021 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The International Monetary Fund has forecasted that the COVID-19 pandemic is set to result in the worst recession since the Great Depression, which occurred in the 1920s and the early 1930s. Evidently, numerous economies have been hard hit by the outbreak of the pandemic, and Ghana is no exception. Despite these discouraging statistics, digitization has proven to be the best option for business continuity and normalization, access to educational facilities and materials, and critical operations, amongst other endeavors. It is therefore no surprise that there has been a heightened dependency on technology tools to ensure the continuous access to goods and services amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing protocols. Some countries, through the use of artificial intelligence, have utilized technology and digital platforms to propose solutions, identify COVID-19 treatment, and aid in contact tracing. As part of the government's effort to address the COVID-19 pandemic, the COVID-19 Tracker app was rolled out to aid in the tracking of possible COVID-19 cases which were positive. The government of Ghana also offered crucial reliefs and tax waivers to financial institutions, government health workers, provision of electricity and water, amongst others. Ladies and gentlemen, since Ghana recorded its first COVID-19 positive case in March, the nation has undergone diverse waves of transformation to align with the protocols needed to defeat this virus. The communication sector, amongst others, has been working tirelessly with our agencies to shoulder the huge responsibility of ensuring seamless interaction within the digital ecosystem. The migration of services onto digital platforms by schools, businesses, and government has inadvertently made the digital ecosystem the heartbeat of our economy. The International Monetary Fund earlier this year had stated that Ghana's 2020 estimated GDP growth rate could decline from 6.8% to 2.6% as part of the lower productivity associated with various lockdown measures. We must therefore double our efforts because the critical national information infrastructure of our country, which encompasses education, finance, health, telecommunications, and government, thrives successfully on the digital systems and consequently contributes significantly to our social economic development. A disruption in these services and infrastructure would have a devastating impact on the country's security and other sectors of the economy. At the height of the Covid-19 crisis, we witnessed a surge of the use of various digital platforms around the globe and Ghana. Globally, a 59% penetration rate was recorded for the use of internet users as of July 2020, and the source is via social. And a 48% penetration rate for internet users was recorded for Ghana as of January 2020. In order to make room for these surges, the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Communications, granted extra spectrum to some mobile network operators to ease the pressure by the public on data bandwidth. As more people take to digital platforms to conduct their businesses and enjoy services, the government is not oblivious of these risks associated with the increased interaction on our digital space. The government has therefore put in place stringent measures to address some of these issues, especially ones that pertain to the increase in internet accessibility. Since March, the National Cybersecurity Center has recorded a significant increase in the number of cybercrime, cybersecurity incidents reported by the public and institutions through cybercrime, cybersecurity incident reporting points of contact, POCs. Prominent among these incidents are phishing, malware, and denial of service attacks, amongst others. Many high-ranking government and public officials have been the target of impersonation and identity theft cases. This means that government, in collaboration with key stakeholders, need to continue strengthening existing protocols to ensure intensified resilience of various ICT systems used by the public and institutions of the various sectors of our economy. In addressing some of these cybercrime, cybersecurity issues, which have become more prominent in recent times, the Ministry of Communications, through the National Cybersecurity Center, has presented a cybersecurity bill to Cabinet for consideration and enactment by Parliament. When passed into law, the cybersecurity bill will cater extensively for the prosecution of cybercrime and will also ensure robust regulation of the cybersecurity ecosystem in our country. The Ministry of Communications, through the National Cybersecurity Secretariat, has further revised the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy with content that reflects current trends in the area of cybersecurity and cybercrime. Cybersecurity in this era has therefore become the pillar to safeguard our social economic development and sustain our national defense from potential cyber attacks. Strategic and priority initiatives and investments implemented, including the development of the National and Sectorial Computer Emergency Response Teams, SETs, and Security Operations Centers, SOCs, has improved our effectiveness and efficiency in responding to cyber-related attacks on critical infrastructure. Additionally, due to the wide population from all sectors resulting to digital platforms for social economic activities, the National Cybersecurity Center would need to leverage on this development to intensify their sensitization and awareness creation on cybercrime, cybersecurity, which is underpinned by the National Cybersecurity Awareness Program dubbed a Safer Digital Ghana, launched by His Excellency the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, on October 1st during the 2018 edition of the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This will be a major catalyst in strengthening the security of citizens on the cyberspace. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, despite all these efforts, we acknowledge that we have a long way to go in ensuring a secure digital ecosystem. I, therefore, employ us all to engage actively in this month-long event in order to equip ourselves with various necessary cybersecurity best practices needed to stay safe in the digital ecosystem. I also entreat all participants to engage fully in this forum to ensure that we achieve the laid down objectives. As we continue to use the phrase, stay safe, in reference to COVID-19, I, on behalf of the ministry, admonish us to also stay safer online, as the digital space has become a very fertile ground for preparation of various crimes. May the good Lord continue to bless our homeland Ghana, and may He give His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his team another 4 more years to do more for a digitally secured Ghana. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable George Anda, Deputy Minister for Communications, for an informative keynote speech. Shall we hear a message from the Managing Director of Cowbank, Mr. Philip Uredu?
Honorable Deputy Minister, Mr. George Anda, the National Security, Cybersecurity Advisor, Mr. Nchibu Esiakon, all protocols observed. Thank you very much for having Cowbank here to celebrate this week of cybersecurity awareness with you. I'd like to welcome everyone here to the 2020 National Cybersecurity Awareness Month under the theme, Cybersecurity in the Era of COVID-19. COVID-19 has had a serious impact on global economies, and Ghana has not been spared. I believe we all have experienced its effect one way or the other. The world has experienced incredible changes over the course of very few months. Businesses, governments, consumers have all been under immense pressure to keep things going while operating in a world in upheaval and change. Nations, businesses, and consumers worldwide have responded to the outbreak by adapting to various measures, including the mobilization of resources to sustain the infrastructure, systems, and digital devices, and created new and innovative digital solutions in addition to enhancing the consumption and use of technology. The effects of the pandemic have put severe pressure on banking customers across various segments, such as retail, commercial, and corporate. There is also increased reliance on digital channels, with constant pressure on technology infrastructure and resources. We have seen an increase from the migration of in-branch customers to customers using the various platforms of about 30 to 40%. Financial institutions are rapidly deploying remote systems and network to support staff working from home, whilst criminals are also taking advantage of increased security vulnerabilities to steal data, generate profits, and cause disruption. I'm sure we've all heard of the incident not too long ago at early parts of this month in Uganda, where criminals, through cyber fraud, were able to commit a fraud to the tune of $3.2 million, which brought the Momo services operated by MTN, Airtel, and Stanbic to a complete halt in Uganda for a period of time. So we can understand the need for us to ensure that we keep our systems and our infrastructure within the banking sector and the financial system safe. Cyber criminals are developing and boosting their attacks at an alarming pace, exploiting the fear and uncertainty caused by the unstable social and economic situation created by COVID-19. These modern attacks have been automated and are quite difficult to detect. Unfortunately, there is no single method that can successfully protect against every single type of attack. Internal threat activity has also gained prominence in the COVID-19 era as far as cyber attacks are concerned. The world is seeing an upsurge in cyber attacks. Therefore, the industry must invest more to educate users of digital services, conduct proper security assessments of our systems, adopt a layered approach to cyber defense to provide holistic protection. The future, however, is bright, and we can adhere to initiatives that have been provided by governments, regulatory bodies, and standard authorities. The Honorable Deputy Minister has elaborated in terms of what government is doing to ensure that our cyber world remains very safe. The business sector is grateful for the initiative of government in laying and building the blocks to protect Ghana's cyberspace. This comes in the form of Electronic Transaction Act 2008, which seeks to protect consumers against cyber fraud and attacks, the Data Protection Act of 2012, which provides the legal framework for the protection of personal information. There is currently an ongoing process within the financial service sector and the telcos to put in place a payment systems strategy, which is quite strong on digitization and also ensuring that there is a safe and secure environment through which financial services would be provided. In the banking sector, the growing online services is an area of concern. The introduction of the Bank of Ghana's Cybersecurity Directive for financial institutions has helped to provide guidelines for cyber and information security in the financial sector. This has strengthened the customer confidence in the security of banking technology in Ghana. Organizations are hereby encouraged to sensitize their employees around information security outside the office environment. We at CalBank have ensured that in conforming to these directives from the central bank, technologies such as PCI DSS, ISO 27001 have all been implemented in the bank to ensure that we protect our customers. we are going the full haul to ensure that the directive is fully adhered to, and not just the directive, but looking at best practice within the world to ensure that the bank keeps its customers safe. At Cal Bank, even though the pandemic has posed its challenges to us, we have seen huge opportunities in our operations. We have acted on this to ramp up our digital transformation. Beginning of this year, we had a digitization strategy. Going through that strategy, by March, that strategy had to be hastened because what we thought we were going to do through the year, obviously were all pushed forward by this pandemic. We have had to quicken a number of plans that we have scheduled for the year, and we are excited that the outcome of this has been very good so far. Our customers over the period have been encouraged to opt for our newly launched user-friendly and secure DigiBank solutions, which, when they visit our banking halls, which allows them to carry out their banking services without face-to-face interaction. The Cal Bank app has also been enhanced, and I dare say that it is about the best app on the market at the moment. I urge everyone to download this app because whether you're a Cal Bank customer or not, you can use it, and it's a very good platform to ensure that you are able to provide services for yourself. We also have our short code *771, which is basically for customers who do not have very digitally savvy phones. Our internet banking and our agent points are also options which are available to customers. We are glad about the uptake of our digital products, and we continue to invest in the security platform that protects the bank and the funds of our customers. We continue to train our staff in technological advances and cybersecurity trend. And I should say that the National Advisor has been a very good partner to the bank and to the banking sector to ensure that we enhance the knowledge of our staff, to ensure that we operate using globally accepted standards. With the growth of cybersecurity threats, we will continue to equip our team with the required tools needed to ensure their security online and banks' overall security. We will continue to invest in our commitment to ensure a viable and secure banking system across all aspects of our operations. We will continue to let our values of responsible, effective, and decisive continue to guide our operations, and will deliver a secure banking offering to our customers, partners, and other stakeholders. Digital transformation is no longer a journey. Digital dependence is a new normal. This has entirely changed our risk posture as organizations and the financial service sector require a whole new approach to cyber and information protection. Cyber security threats are going to intensify, and we, as the financial service sector and the banking sector, do have a responsibility to ensure that we protect all our stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Managing Director for Cal Bank, Mr. Philip Uredu, for your message. That is a very welcome message from Cal Bank. Shall we just take a 10-minute break? We'll use the break for just some tea and photo opportunity just to commemorate the occasion, and then we'll come back for the highlight of this program. We're going to have presentations from the various institutions and agencies, government institutions and agencies, I beg your pardon. We'll start from the NITA, that is the National Information Technology Agency, will make a presentation. Then we will have the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, GIFEC, make a presentation. Then another presentation from the Ghana Health Service. a presentation from Ghana Post Company Limited, and then the Accra Digital Center. Please don't be in a hurry to go away, just a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Talimilin sugumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane ithando lwakho talimilin sugumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane Namulilo lilo 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 Namlilo lilo 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 Namlilo lilo 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 Namlilo lilo lilo wow Haya Tumlilo na malanga Wavuta mlilo Nangulo mlilo Wavuta mlilo na malanga Wavuta mlilo Nangulo mlilo talimili ngisukumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane ithando lwakho talimili ngisukumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo lilo wo haya somlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 dala ngibona ngiphila kanje ngibona ngiphila kanje kungenxa yothando lwakhe mehlo wami akholewe ndlebe zami zimamele lomo wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa kudala ngibona ngiphila kanje ngibona ngiphila kanje kungenxa yothando lwakhe mehlo wami akholewe ndlebe zami zimamele lomo wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa bavuthomlilo namalangabe bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalangabe bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalangabe bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalangabe bavuthomlilo bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukuvakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bani ithando lwakho dala imilingi sukuma ishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukuvakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bani nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo lilo wo haya somlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo bavuthomlilo namalanga bavuthomlilo bavuthomlilo nangulomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 dala ngibona ngiphila kanje ngibona ngiphila kanje kungenxa yothando lwakhe mehlo wami avolewe ndlebe zami zimamele lomo wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa udala ngibona ngiphila mzimamele Loma wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo lilo whoa higher ooh namlilo Thando lwakho talimili ngisukumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa thando lwakho mina ngizotshela abane thando lwakho talimili ngisukumishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa thando lwakho mina ngizotshela abane nangulo mlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo lilo whoa higher umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 hayo mlilo Dala nibona niphila kanje nibona niphila kanje kungenxa yothando lwakhe mehlo wami afolewe ndlebe zami zimamele lomo wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa kudala ngibona ngiphila kanje ngibona ngiphila kanje kungenxa yothando lwakhe mehlo wami afolewe ndlebe zami zimamele lomo wami uthetha naye kuye yedwa wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalangabe wavutha umlilo wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 namlilo lilo 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 sukungishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane ithando lwakho dalimile sukungishosha lentando yakho abangaboni sebeyobona mina ngeke ngikwazi ukufakazela omunye umuntu kodwa ithando lakho mina ngizotshela bane nangulo mlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo lilo wow haya somlilo namalanga bavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo bavutha umlilo namalanga bavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalanga wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo wavutha umlilo namalanga wavutha umlilo nangulo mlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 nomlilo lilo 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 lilo
Digitalisation agenda. I just want to remind you that this is being streamed live on City TV, YouTube on NCSC Ghana, Facebook on NCSC Ghana, that is the National Cybersecurity Center Ghana, and NACSAM TV, that is NCSAM TV live. Shall we have the first presentation by the Director General of the National Information Technology Agency in the person of Mr. Richard Otri Ofosu. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome him once again with a round of applause, shall we?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's still morning. Thank you. Just raise it up a little bit for me. Dr. Albert Enchibo-Siako, the National Advisor for National Cybersecurity, and the Cybersecurity team, Dr. De Costa Abuaje of the Ghana Health Service, David Ofori from the Accra Digital Center, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Indeed, I'm glad to be here today to speak on the impact of COVID-19 on digitalization. We are all aware of the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic and the, if you like, the total shutdown that ensued. Social distancing became the norm to slow down the virus, and also digitalization stepped up to fill the gap for all the mandated shutdowns and social distancing measures. The pandemic served as a great test case for this government and how effective we can use digital solutions. The government, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in executing their digitalization agenda, empowered NITA to actually put solutions together to solve some of the issues that we were facing. I would like to focus my presentation today on two use cases. The solution we put together to help the public service work during the shutdown and even today as we work remotely. And also the case of the president having found the state of most universities, most of our public universities, actually empowered us to put a solution together to solve some of the issues with the public universities. My first presentation will be on a solution that we put in place called Smart Workplace. I'm very proud of this solution because it was developed by Ghanaians, a company by the name of eSolutions Ghana Limited. This was a total package built on the Microsoft technologies to allow public sector workers to be able to work from home, any place, anywhere, on any device, to be able to share, collaborate, and also perform all the conferencing facilities that they need to do. Currently, NITA has successfully deployed this solution to over 330 MDAs and MMDAs, and we continue to work on it to get the rest on board. This, as I said, enables the public sector to work remotely and reduce personal contact to curb the spread of the COVID. Many government agencies such as the Cabinet Secretariat, GRA, Ghana Health Service, Ghana Standards Authority, MPRA, SIGA, and the SEC are currently trained and using this product. So I would urge, and with the media here, we would also use the media to announce that all the MDAs and MMDAs who are not on board should do so quickly, because this is a government initiative. All government agencies are to use this product. So all they need to do is go to www.nita.gov.gh and download the form, and we'll quickly onboard them. Now you ask me, what is Smart Workplace? Smart Workplace is basically about working smart and working safe. You just oppose it over traditional workplace norms versus the new normal, which is the virtual reality that we face ourselves in. So in the traditional space, you have the queues, you have the meetings. In a telecommuting environment, social distancing is observed because you are virtually working from home, and you can work anytime, any place. So these are some of the challenges that the Smart Workplace intends to solve. Problems with secure emails. So with the Smart Workplace, you have an enterprise-grade email service. You can collaborate. You can put together complex workflows to assist you work, and many, many more as we've listed them. Some of the key features, as I mentioned, you can have document management, instant messaging, audio and video conferencing, and you can connect to this platform anytime, any place. Now, it is worth noting that during the COVID crisis, the thing that survived in our tech space was the cloud technology. The cloud infrastructure survived. Everybody gravitated to all the cloud solutions. So this is built on the cloud and is available anytime, any place. These are some of the portfolios that you can get with Smart Workplace. Actually, it's a rich set of tools for communicating internally and externally. I mentioned secure email. I mentioned the Office Productivity Suite. I mentioned video and audio conferencing. I also mentioned the fact that employees can work anywhere, any place, anytime, on any device. You have visibility of what's going on within your organization, and even integration with your internal systems as well. So making working together very easy and collaboration very successful. Some of the institutions using the Smart Workplace is actually the Cabinet Secretariat. This is the portal that the Cabinet Secretariat will see, and from here they can navigate to all the tools that they need to do their work. I'll move to GRA, which is also one of the agencies using this product. Ghana Standards Authority is also a member, currently using it successfully. And as I said, it has been very useful in light of the COVID-19 and what we're experiencing. Again, I would urge all government agencies who are not on it to get in touch with NITA, and we can get them on board as soon as possible. They have no choice. It is mandated. So again, we appeal using our friends from the press to actually get the information across. I'll move on quickly to my second case study or case initiative that the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, actually charged NITA to do during this period. We found out that a lot of the public universities actually were struggling with infrastructure to be able to deliver remote lectures and the like. So it was a problem. So he actually charged us to come up with a cloud-based system, a learning management system that will facilitate teaching and learning in public universities. Again, this was a joint project between the Ministries of Communications and Education, ably assisted by Garnet, which actually currently provide or distributes connectivity to all the public universities, and our technical partner at NITA, Smart Infraco Limited. So what is the LMS all about? It's actually supposed to deliver the following academic requirements: innovative ways of teaching, provide access to course materials, provide access to library resources and other collaborative modes of learning for students on campus and off campus, conduct assessments, and actually provide a highly scalable infrastructure to be assessed via any device, anywhere, any place. There were some technical components that we wanted to make sure that the solution actually addressed. And one of it was, it's going to be in the cloud. So government has the G Cloud that we would use to facilitate this. Create a centralized Moodle LMS platform. In the height of this, we conducted a survey and we found out that most of them were using Moodle, with the exception of University of Ghana, who was using a different product, but they also wanted to go back to Moodle. So this was so we are creating a centralized Moodle LMS platform for the universities. This actually takes away a lot of the infrastructure headaches from the university so that they can focus on delivering quality education. And then the third component was to make sure that we create common educational content towards standardization and collaboration with external institutions. What we found was that during the lockdown, a lot of these universities were actually going out of Ghana to access content. This sort of situation puts a lot of burden, data cost to go outside, come back down. So we are trying to localize these things so that the information will be readily available for you to access. So in my conclusion, I say that the best way to promote efficiency and safety of our workforce during this period is to arm them with tools and resources which will enable them to work remotely and digitally and effectively. We acknowledge that the increase in remote working has in fact dramatically increased productivity. I happen to be part of an exercise in the US when we were considering remote working for most companies. The notion of people working from home, they will not be productive and all that. I mean, research actually showed and proved that when people are working from home, they're actually more productive. Often at times, they get out of bed, straight to their machine or their home office, and they are working. And we need to encourage that a lot more in Ghana. How would we do that? We need robust technical infrastructure. I mentioned the National Data Center, which is managed by NITA and the government cloud. But also we need connectivity. All these things we've said, from the Deputy Minister's speech to Dr. Albert Ntribosiaku's speech and Mr. Radu from CalBank's speech, we've noticed that there are a lot of e-initiatives, suites of products or services that are online. How do we access these things? You can only access these things when you have good connectivity and coverage, so that our friends and family in the hinterlands can also take advantage of these services. You can only do this when you consolidate the government of Ghana fiber assets that we have. There's a proposal that we are working on to make sure that ECG fiber assets, Ghana gas fiber assets, and a lot more, BNC, they all have fiber assets which are currently in silos. We would like to consolidate it so that we can cover a lot more Ghana and provide the services that we need to provide. So that is important. We look at data protection. We've talked about it a bit here. Data privacy and security, and data residency and sovereignty. These are key issues in this era. As we work from home, we are working remotely, we are seeing a worry about where the data is hosted, but the laws that pertains to that particular country is also taken into account to ensure that these things are brought to fore. Cybersecurity. I cannot end my presentation without talking about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not a responsibility of the National Cybersecurity Agency or the National Cybersecurity Center. It is a responsibility of conduct businesses, in a very secure manner. Not only does it depend on yourself, knowing and learning. Cybersecurity is a joint responsibility, and it starts with you. So on that note, I thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, the Director General of NITA. Thank you very much, the Director General of Thank you very much, the Director General of NITA, Mr. Richard Ochi-Ofosu, for your delivery, your presentation on what NITA has put in place for Ghana to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, in as much as our solutions for government agencies and institutions, as well, and also the learning management system for education. Thank you very much, sir. Shall we welcome a representative for the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, Mr. Victor Asante, to present for GIFEC. To present for GIFEC. To present to present
Yes, yes. Good morning. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Rather unfortunately, I'm unable to be at the session physically because we are embarking on a drive test in our rural communities to ensure that we are able to achieve the digital agenda of the state. So I hope I have the permission of the directors. Hope I have the permission. 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 Hello. For the presentation, it's going to be a very brief presentation. We'll just look at what GIFEC has been doing over the period. How we've been able to solve the challenges. How were we impacted by COVID, and the strategies that we put in place to mitigate future occurrences. Then, of course, we all know that yes, COVID has been so dire for us, but in all that, there's been a silver that I'm happy to give you. Then, of course, if there are some questions to be taken. So, what have been our efforts over the period? On the left side of the top left corner of the hello. On the top left corner of the slide, you see a mask. It's one of our flagship, represent one of the flagship projects that we've been doing over the period. The mask is the Rural Star mask that was developed. We so far connect better well. I will say these are able to connect about 500 of these communities. Over close to about 1 million people are receiving signals on account of our presence in these remote communities. For the digital skills training program, our objective is to train about 5,000. Informal businesses. If you look just beneath that picture, there is what we call the Smart Communities project. This is a project we started sometime in 2017, and the objective is to ensure that we make all communities smart. How do we make communities smart? We make communities smart by introducing digital resources and encourage the use of these resources in the rural communities. And so the Smart Communities program currently is on a pilot project. It's happening in Brekum, also Asumura, and then Asankrigwa. It is a three-in-one project. It has three main components. We have the content aspect, and I'm quite happy with what the previous speaker said in respect of localizing content. That is one of the key objectives of this project. There is a local content provision, and if you look at the slide. agriculture, it's about fishing, it's about anything connected to artisanal businesses. We expect that this opportunity will stimulate local development of policies. Then, of course, we also have the digital for financial inclusion project. The idea is to ensure, and this was a takeaway from one of the sessions that we have with the Bank of Ghana. We realized that in the rural communities, there were many people who were not financially. completely refurbished. We are hoping that the 75 should be completed by the end of the month. Then we are also considering other alternative means of connectivity. Yes, our object is to ensure that we roll over to about 95% of the rural communities. But how about the 5%? It may be the case that technically this 5% of the rural communities may not under any form have connectivity. But there are other alternative methods that we are exploring to ensure that these communities have connectivity. One of the key strategies that we are putting across is to facilitate the establishment of community networks. These are networks that are actually owned by the communities. The communities. I mean, it is quite popular in the East and then the South African region, and we want to import that strategy into our system here. And so what we will be doing in that respect is to support the development of a policy framework for the rollout of community networks in Ghana. Presently, there's a gap in the policy space in respect of community network. And so we are collaborating with the Internet Society of Ghana, which actually is one of the key entities that is championing the rollout of community networks in Ghana. We are going to do so by exploring the use of technology like TV-wide space, for example. We realize that if we use the TV-wide space, we might be able to deploy to very far-flung communities, areas that none of the traditional methods that we are presently using may be viable. And the TV-wide space from our study indicates that that could be a viable option for us to use. The ultimate objective is to ensure that connectivity, beyond that, the fact that connectivity gets to the remote areas, it should be affordable. TV-wide space has proven through case studies from other regions that it is an affordable technology. Then, of course, the architecture that is being proposed is the mesh network. We also aim at establishing public hotspots. It is something that has been on the drawing board for a while now, but with the advent of COVID, we realize that public hotspots where people may not necessarily have to move to ICT centers, they could take advantage of public hotspots that may be established within their localities. And so it's one of the key areas that GIFEC is actually going to focus on post-COVID. Then, of course, is research. We realized that, yes, it wasn't just the educational front that was actually hit. We are all very much aware that the medium and small skills enterprises were adversely affected by COVID. Many of our friends within that sector were unable to conduct their business in the manner that they were used to, largely because the restrictions that were imposed. And so we are collaborating with the Ghana Statistical Service and the National Board for Small Scale Industries to undertake a study on ICT use among SMEs in Ghana. Our objective is to ensure that digital resources are also used by people within that bracket. For the formal enterprises, for the large-scale enterprises, many of them use fairly the ICT resources, but we realize that the people within the SME bracket are people who really do not use any of these digital resources, beyond the fact that some of them might be using mobile money. And so the study is going to identify the gaps and constraints that is militating against the use of digital resources, and even enable us to know the extent of use of digital resources among SMEs, so that we're able to provide some support in that direction. Yes, it's not the all gloomy. COVID indeed affected a lot of sectors, but within this gloomy situation, we were able to receive an award from the ITU at the recently held WSI, the World Summit for Information Society, for us encouraging the use of ICT to curb violent extremism in rural Ghana. So, as I said, it's not good. There's always a silver lining, and we want to thank the ministry for the support that they extended to us on that project. Yes, and so this is one question that we need to answer ourselves. It is obvious with COVID that we don't have an option to digital connectivity. In the first revolution, it used to be industrialization, then we move on to oil. Now the space is actually driven by ICT. And if we want to push Ghana, as people say, leapfrog our development, then of course we will have to take ICT seriously. Thank you.
Financial inclusion of underserved communities, as well as digital solutions for even the fishing industry, Girls for IT, and their support for schools. Thank you very much, GIFEC, for your presentation. It will be interesting to hear, given that the COVID pandemic hit our health infrastructure very heavily, it will be interesting to hear what preparations the Ghana Health Service put in place to combat the pandemic. Shall we welcome Dr. Da Costa Abuaje, representative for the Ghana Health Service.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Albert Entry-Boisiakon, National Cybersecurity Advisor, Mr. Richard Ochre-Fosu, Director General, NITA, Mr. Abraham Kofi Asante, the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Connectivity, Mr. James Awotwe, Ghana Post Director, Mr. Eric Fosu, in Cancer, Accra Digital Center, the media, and all protocols duly observed. I will focus my presentation on by giving the background to our COVID-19 fight. Then I'll look at the positive impacts, then the negative impacts. Then I'll talk about the way forward, our collective way forward. So as a country, we have been battling with the COVID-19 pandemic. From the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health perspective, we started preparing when we heard that there was this outbreak of the virus in Wuhan, China. So we activated our Emergency Operations Center, which is normally called the EOC at the Ghana Health Service. So at some point, the government came in, and our approach in fighting the pandemic has been an all-government approach, which was chaired by the president. I mean, he still chairs it. So the president appointed Dr. Asamoah Ban as the presidential coordinator for the COVID response in our country. There was an interministerial committee made up of ministers from the various sectors. We were meeting the president almost every day, and we moved to twice a week. And so it was on the 11th of March 2020 that the WHO declared the virus outbreak as a pandemic. Then on the 12th of March, we recorded our 2 cases as a country. So as of today, our active cases stands at 301. Then the number of people who have died stands at 306. May their souls rest in peace. The number of positive cases stands at 47,005. Then those who have recovered stands at 46,398. The number of tests we have conducted stands at over 496,000 since the pandemic started in our country. So I'll share with you some of the strategies that the government has been adopting in fighting this pandemic. Our first strategy has been to limit and stop importation of the cases. So you all witnessed the closure of the borders, as flights were suspended and people were put under mandatory quarantine. Initially, it was at the cost of government. So our second strategy was to detect and contain the virus. And as you all are witnesses, we continue to contain the virus. The active cases continue to come down, but it is not a guarantee for us to lose our guards. I'm so happy that everyone here is observing the social distancing and also wearing of the face mask. Let us keep it up. So our third strategy has been to care for the sick. So for our brothers and sisters who had COVID-19, we certainly took very good care of them, and we continue to take care of those who are being infected. Then the fourth strategy was to limit the impact of social and economic life. And it is also in line with health, as one of our approaches in health is determinants of health, where health outcomes takes into consideration social, economic, agric, and other factors. This is why during the lockdown, vulnerable people were being fed, and also when our children went back to school, the president decided to feed them. These are all measures taken to limit to limit the impact on social life. I believe that majority of you enjoyed free water and free electricity. These are just few. So our fifth agenda, or our fifth strategy, has been to build on our domestic capacity and build self-reliance. And this is where I think as a country it is very, very important. And this is where the digital agenda of the country fits. Because as a country, if you look at the previous speakers, we certainly have to move into the digital agenda with speed. And I must commend the government for what it has done so far. In fact, no one knew that COVID-19 was actually coming. But with the little infrastructure that was in place, we actually managed some of our meetings via Zooms and other things. So it is a very good initiative, and I believe that it should continue until we make sure that we put digital, we take the digital space. So let me say that COVID-19 has pushed digital health forward amidst the challenges. Our initial preparations, like I talked about, we certainly secured our airport with digital thermometers. As we speak today, if you go to the airport, you certainly know that we are doing most of our things by technology. So we have you fill in your forms and everything online, the e-forms. We set up the Ghana Health Service website specifically for COVID, for citizens and organizations to have information readily available to them. The government also set up the 311 for teleconsultation and also queries. And it was actually here at the Accra Digital Center. In fact, I had majority of my staff during the lockdown and throughout the pandemic working from this center, trying to answer queries from citizens. There was also the government-private partnership. For example, if you look at the University of Ghana Medical Center, there was a telemedicine program put up for citizens to actually access medical health or medical care through the system. One of our strategy was also to manage patients from home. So in collaboration with the University of Ghana Medical Center, we came up with what we call the COVID Connect application for managing COVID-19 patients from their various homes. The Vodafone Foundation actually assisted us. So we had about 70 doctors manning a telemedicine center at the Vodafone Foundation, helping citizens during the pandemic. Other facilities also, other private facilities also supported government in this telemedicine agenda. So let's look at our strategy. Our strategy for COVID-19 has been using our 3 T's. And almost every part of the 3 T's, there was an aspect of technology or digitalization. So for example, if you look at our tracing, we came up with a Ghana COVID-19 tracker, which actually were being used to trace contacts of positive cases. And it was easy to use. You just log in, you put your details, and we are able to know within a certain space where the contacts are or where. So in our testing, we also had digitized barcoding to help. In terms of our treatment, we had digitized technology to patient-centered care by fostering communication for patients via online portals, text messaging, and emails to support the telemedicine agenda. So you've all heard about our drone service through Zipline. Test results were being delivered to testing facilities. Again, with the emergence of the COVID-19, the Ghana Health Service activated the Surveillance Outbreak Response Management and Analysis System, that's the SORMAS, in all health facilities, and also at the Kotoka International Airport for epidemiological follow-up and containment. Now, the various labs that we had, people, healthcare professionals working in these labs and health facilities are able, even in rural areas, are able to enter results of test results, so that you can just sit in your office and just access the data. And this is also not only a Ghana agenda, it is also an African agenda. So the SORMAS implicate, we work closely with the African partners to align the SORMAS with an integrated disease surveillance response, and there is a strategy for that. And I must say that the implementation of the SORMAS has actually strengthened Ghana's disease control capabilities. And again, alignment with other digital disease surveillance applications and interoperability with the digital health platforms such as the Ghana District Health Management System 2, which is a web-based repository of which is a web-based repository of health data. So my understanding is that we are engaging NITA to see how best we strengthen this, which is good. Next, please. So in terms of risk communication, we have been using digital tools and digital spaces in propagating our messaging. And we have been addressing misinformation and rumors through technology. We have been doing public education and community engagement to COVID-19 through our social media and digital spaces. We have been addressing stigma using digital tools. We also have been propagating or disseminating the safety protocols via digital means. And let me also say that the telecommunication companies actually helped us in also sending bulk messages to Ghanaians to the extent that some ringing tones were COVID-19 messages developed by the Ghana Health Service. Of this, we have to give them applause. So our social marketing of public education with digital monitoring tools like the Brand 24 exists in the Ghana Health Service. Especially in my division, we have monitoring tools to fight these rumors and misinformation. Digital sharing of situational reports, newsletters, and posters, and also keeping information in the Health Promotion Resource Center repository is some of the key things that technology or the digital agenda helped us in doing. So this one is not unique to the Ghana Health Service, like you heard about the smart working places. The Ghana Health Service also, we've been doing the lockdown, and even throughout the period, people were working from home, but we were able to engage them. We were able to engage them through Skype, through Google Hangouts, through Zoom meetings, GoToMeetings, and the Microsoft Teams, the FaceTime, the Webness, and etc. And I think this is what I wouldn't say it's a new innovation, but I think this is the reason why, as a country, we have to continue to invest in the digital space, because it is important. Someone was talking about working from home. Working from home actually is productive. I mean, in England, when I was working there, I used to work from home about 2 days a week. And I found that it was even more productive than even just waking up, dressing up, taking the kids to school, and driving to work. and or in a hurry. Sometimes we are stuck in traffic. So there should be innovation on this, and I'm really happy that steps have been taken to roll it out. So again, let's look at the Ghana telemedicine agenda. So with Novartis Foundation and the Ministry of Health, this initiative was developed. And I think the government will be rolling this out nationally by scaling it up nationally. It uses the information and communication technology, which is ICT, to connect community health workers to medical specialists via a 24-hour consultation. As you can see, the lady at the center receiving some of the community health workers. Normally, the doctors and nurses and midwives in these telecommunication centers coach and advise community health workers, helping them to manage emergency cases that are beyond their capacity. So community workers in maybe remote chip compounds needing the services of maybe specialists are able to connect to these specialists via a digital means to receive the best service of care that they desire. Again, reimaging healthcare through digital technology. Under the SDG 3, it is important that we use technology in achieving the universal health coverage, and also the SDG 3, which talks about health and wellness. So, government hospitals such as Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Komfo-Anokye Hospital, they are actually piloting the electronic health record systems. And I think they are in some of the hospitals as well. So let's look at this one. This is very important. COVID has actually exposed us on the non-communicable diseases, being it hypertension, diabetes, and the others. So as a country, we certainly have to work so hard in fighting these. And there should be innovations in the digital space for this. There is a project that was carried out. It's called the Community-Based Hypertension Improvement Project. This is where blood pressure screen points are put in places where people live, work, and shop, like in rural areas, in pharmacy shops, and in other places. I think it was also part of the primary healthcare strategy of the country. So technology or digitization is playing a key role in this, when the screening points are connected via technology with health workers to provide diagnosis and ongoing care and support nurses in decision making. And I think during the COVID-19, the same things were actually used. SMS were being sent out for patients to self-manage at homes. So by this, like I have been talking about the underlying health conditions. So as a country, we continue to pilot what we call the wellness clinics as part of the government agenda. But I believe that it will be scaled up nationally, maybe from 2021, in realization of the health promotion and prevention agenda of the health service. And I think digitalization will also play a key role, where people can just walk to facilities, check their vitals, and they are categorized under maybe red, gold, green. Then they are entered onto a digital system where practitioners can make follow-ups, and give proper care. So let's look at the next slide, which is also another digital agenda that has been going on in the health sector. The NHIS transition towards a paperless system is on track, in line with the national digital drive. So now you can just take your mobile phone and just type *929 and you renew your NHIS registration. Facilities are now doing e-claims, electronic cash point at various facilities, and most of our things are now online, which I think is all in line with the government's digital agenda. So in the Ghana Health Service, for example, we have the e-recruitment and steady leave applications when people will have to apply their steady leaves online so that we are able to know those who are really due for steady leave. And let me also say that during this COVID-19, the government has recruited a number of health workers, and all these were done through an e-recruitment portal hosted by the Ministry of Health. Majority of the nurses were asked to apply. The 2017 nurses were asked to apply. 2018 nurses are. The aim is to ensure equitable distribution of health staff across the country. So it is a good agenda, and I think we must support it. So now let's look at some of the new approaches or products for the future. E-health is certainly the future of our health system. It is very important to stress this. So there must be digitalization across the health sector, where we have electronic records which may be used in hospitals, but also across facilities. For example, when maybe something happens to me in Accra, but I am in Kumasi, the doctor in Kumasi should be able to access my medical records upon a click of a button to know my medical history for proper diagnosis. And it shouldn't be only in Accra and Kumasi. It should be across the country for equity's sake. So digital tools that enable us to follow patients' health status once they leave hospital or healthcare facilities, and this must include promotive and preventive activities as well, like I talked about previously in the wellness centers. That should be the agenda driving our national health promotion and prevention strategy. Scaling up telemedicines, like I've said, it does exist, but we need to scale it up. Mobile health is very important. Now, one of the things that I think we must be thinking about, I'm not predicting that there could be a second wave, but as a public health specialist, we always plan ahead. As I told you, we started planning long ago. So in future, I think quarantine apps to follow individuals whilst they are in quarantine will be very, very important. So the app could be used to also follow up patients, not only in this era, but for other diseases. Then again, we heard majority of the people were calling the centers to inquire about COVID-19, and they were not getting through. So it is important to deploy voice bots to answer individual calls, and where it is important, where it is complex, then it is transferred to healthcare professionals to deal with. I think this one is also very important, and as a service, we are taking note of this. I think we will be implementing something very soon. So let's look at the negative impacts. Those that I've talked about are some of the positive impacts that COVID-19 has brought within the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health. But let's look at the negative impacts. Cost has been one of the main things that where electronic health record systems are very expensive, and challenges with private providers blocking access to patients' records due to non-payments. Remember I talked about government-private partnership. I think it is very important. So we have to make sure that we address the cost component of this electronic health record systems, or our digitalization agenda. Hackers stealing patient information. We have to address stealing patient information to third parties for data mining. It is very important to stress this as well. Then legal implications due to lack of adequate skills and documentation by healthcare providers. Digital payment fraud, this one too is not limited to the health sector, but banking, you heard the MD of Cowbank using the Uganda experience. Easy access to patient information by other healthcare providers. So it is important to guard against this as well in our agenda. So let's look at the way forward. The way forward should be that as a country, we must focus on access to capital to expand our digital agenda. And in doing so, we must be able to provide information for potential and current entrepreneur and business owners to find public and private funding source to support the government digital agenda. The private sector is very important in this, and they need to be supported. Technology and digital marketing, our digital strategy, social and content marketing, and the monetization of digital media is crucial in creating and maintaining presence during and even after this pandemic. Now, addressing access to broadband and internet has become an essential necessity. This is why I'm also happy about all the presenters talking about internet connectivity, even at the very remote areas. And I believe that this is what will drive our digital economy. So let's look at the human capital building and investment. The digital agenda needs different skills for medical professionals. More training of healthcare professionals will be needed. It needs legal changes and regulations, and I'm happy that the cyber security law or something is in Parliament and awaiting approval by our honorable members in Parliament. Again, there is a need for societal readiness. In fact, like I said, before COVID, the government started preparing a digital agenda. We never knew that COVID would just put us in this situation. But I think in the drive to achieve the digital economy, I think it was the right way to go, and now it is still the right way. We have to improve on what we have, and we have to continue to do what we are doing by scaling it up. There is a need to train more professionals in health informatics. This is also very important. So the way forward again is good leadership and governance. As you have all seen, that the government has actually shown good leadership in terms of managing this COVID-19, but it is not only good leadership, support from citizens also. More education on information technology is very important, and scaling up the use of digital technology in the medical field, like performing certain surgeries and radiology with digital tools. Some are ongoing, but it needs to be scaled up. Again, risk management and privacy. All the speakers have spoken about this. It is also important because medical data is personal and very confidential. They must be protected. So privacy is obviously one of the main challenges that we face in the health sector. Privacy and cybersecurity of medical data must be addressed. Again, another way forward that we have to be focusing on is the digital scientific solutions. Efforts in the digital research and development of treatments, as well as vaccine development, prevention and control. So this is where our universities and colleges should play an important role in digital scientific research, highlighting the importance of training innovative talents. increasing investments in basic digital research, and providing the necessary policy support in physical, financial, and task fields to support the agenda. And I think if you listen to the last presenter, he also talked about research. And it is in line with our effort to build our domestic capability and increasing productivity. We have to be able to develop ourselves as a country. So on this note, I want to thank everyone for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Da Costa Aboagye from the Ghana Health Service. Thank you for the information you've given us. It's been informative. It's gratifying to know that even the health service has prepared digitally and they are still on course for Ghana's digital agenda, putting measures in place such as, first of all, measures to limit the impact of COVID-19 at our airports through digital technology, e-forms, even call centers being set up, the University of Ghana Medical Center, Telemedicine Center, the electronic health record, also the tracker, loads, just to mention a few. It looks like what impressed me most was even the solution you've got to promote healthcare and also to combat stigmatization, etc., etc. And I think that is very good coming from the Ghana Health Service as well. Shall we give them a round of applause? And that is very encouraging to know. Last but not least, we would like to welcome our hosts, the Accra Digital Center. Mr. David Ofori would like to say a thing or two about Accra Digital Center's preparation for the combat of the COVID-19 pandemic as well. Shall we welcome him, sir?
Good afternoon. Still morning, I think. And, a lot has been said. There's a lot of information to take in. Sometimes you don't realize that as a country we're doing so well until you start comparing to other places. Some of us have had the opportunity to visit other countries, and even during COVID. And it is gratifying what we're doing as a country, especially when you get to our borders. Some countries don't have even 1/10 of what we're doing here. So I think as a people, we need to pat ourselves at the back and see what we're doing well, improve upon it, and where we're not doing so well. Of course, let's criticize, but constructively, because I think we have a tendency to always look at things in a bad light. I think the government is doing well in that connection. A lot has been said, so I wouldn't want to go through the digital center, everything. I want us to keep our time brief. We are Accra Digital Center. Our main mandate is, and before I go there, I actually need to observe all protocols to the National Security, Cybersecurity Advisor, my good friend here, the acting MD of NITA, Dr. Costa, thanks, and our friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I want to do this very quick so that we're not spending too much time here. The Digital Center Mandela was set up to be more of an intermediary to our tech ecosystem, tech and innovation ecosystem. So all the good things that my earlier speakers have said about, you need people to do business around it. It all thrives on people's innovation and imagination. And so we as a digital center, our task is to see how best we can help young entrepreneurs, innovators to come up with solutions around these things. I'm glad that the 311 is hosted by the Digital Center. Also, the famous Passport Online started from the Digital Center is right behind us here. So all these have helped us as a country to weather the storm when the pandemic hit. We didn't know the pandemic was coming, but we put these things in place. People built solutions. And I think it's helped us very well. If you just look at the mobile money interoperability, that alone is a singular intervention that has helped us, that we don't have to step out of our houses to go and do face-to-face transactions, but we can do it on our phones. What would you going to do if we're on a lockdown and you have to still send money? Where are you going to go? So these are things that point to the fact that we are on a very good trajectory, but we have to do better and do more. As a digital center, we host mainly tech SMEs, startups, and then we have the Ghana Innovation Hubs here. The Innovation Hub mainly comprises of the Ghana Tech Lab and the Ghana Innovation Hub. These are responsible to nurture and grow tech startups so that all the solutions that we're talking about, even around e-health, startups can take advantage of. I just want to move through that quickly and then focus on a few areas. As a center, we are 100% occupied, by the way, so we have companies all around us. But the two areas I want to focus on is how we've dealt with the COVID-19 while it hit. Of course, most of our tenant companies and startups were able to work from home, so that was a good thing. But we still had to give them support, because as they work from home, that meant that some of their core business have fallen down, and as a result, they will lose revenue. So the Digital Center really offers subsidized infrastructure for these startups so that they don't have to pay as much money as they will pay out there. Again, we also, as an intermediary, liaise with our partners. So for instance, even during the pandemic, we liaise with our partners to inject some capital into tech SMEs. So we had what we call a business plan competition with JICA to invest at least $30,000 each into 3 companies who are doing solutions around COVID. And that is a grant, so it's not a loan. It's a free money so that they can boost their business and their solutions. By the way, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is around. So if you can scale up your solutions, that means that the continent is your playing field. You can export your solutions to other countries like Kenya, South Africa, and what have you. So as a digital center, that's one of our main focus, that how can we scale up a lot of our young innovators and startup businesses to be able to sell their solutions abroad. And that is one of the key things that we'll be focusing on even during the pandemic. It will interest you to know that the Digital Center, through the Ghana Tech Lab, produced face shields right here. We actually donated face shield in conjunction with the Israeli embassy to the Ghana Health Service. It was all locally made here. And the engineers who made all of them are as young as we are. They are right here. All the materials used from here. Even thermometer guns were made right here in the Digital Center. So that helped us as a country to show that we are capable. We didn't have to even import these things. So going forward, what we are looking at focusing more on is how do we get a lot more young people trained in the areas of cybersecurity? Because a lot of these small businesses will be doing business online. So you need a lot of cybersecurity professionals around who can help companies deal with the attacks. How do we train more people in the areas of artificial intelligence? Like Dr. Da Costa mentioned, the 311 will need help with AI tools that would help siphon some calls, so that if your call is not so much of one that you need to speak to a professional, the AI can help you. It can give you already prepared answers that can help you with your query, and you don't have to always wait to speak to agents. Again, even in the areas of records digitization. So how do we make sure that all the health records are being digitized so that we don't lose the data, because the data is the new oil, is the new money. So that's the role that the Digital Center is playing, and going forward, these are some of the focal areas we want to look at. We want to also focus on the areas like trying to get a lot more people scaling up, even in what you call, we want to bridge the skills gap. So before the pandemic hit, some of our folks, even in Accra, not the hinterlands, in Accra, people have digital devices, but they don't actually know how to use them. So we were even on the verge of getting a lot more of this digital skills training out to people in the underserved communities, not necessarily in the hinterlands, but right here in Accra. And now there's a new way of working. So we mentioned Google Teams, Microsoft Teams, Google platforms, Zoom, and all that. There are people who don't even know how to use these platforms. It will amaze you. So sometimes those of us who are tech savvy take these things for granted. We think that everybody should be able to use Zoom. Sometimes people lose privacy in their homes because they don't know that the Zoom camera is on and there's somebody naked behind them. These are everyday lives that is hitting us. And we have to find ways to help each one of us to be able to understand these tools and how they work. So going forward, we want to be able to have a lot more training with our people to understand the new way of working, the new super highway of doing work. How do we even access government digital services? You need to be able to have some of these skills at hand. And as a digital center, we are poised on that. We have a number of tech startups and private companies within the digital center and in the ecosystem. So the ecosystem is made up of even the tech hubs, the privately owned hubs. And some are located in Accra, some are located in the Volta region, in Tamale. And our job is to bring all these together. And we do that all the time. So everything you see happening at the digital center doesn't just happen in Accra, because Ghana is bigger than Accra. When we launched the business support of $30,000 for each business, it was all over the country. So we had companies from all across. How do we support people who are using AI tools and emerging technologies to even detect plant medicines, so that you don't always have to have extension farmers going to physically examine plants? These are things that we're looking at helping out at a digital center. So without much ado, I think that I want to draw the curtains on my submission. I know I've not gotten according to my slide because I know we're far behind time. But if you want to see a lot more of what we do at a digital center, please feel free to talk to me after this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ofori from Accra Digital Center. Just to remind you again, we are being streamed live from on City TV, Facebook, NACSAM 2020 live. Also, we are being streamed live on all other digital platforms. Thank you very much for your presence today. Today we have been informed by various agencies who have made presentations on how Ghana is moving through our digital agenda, the plans that we have in place to ensure that Ghana's digital agenda stays on course. We thank the Accra Digital Center for their efforts in capacity building of young people. Thank you very much for your efforts. I believe they deserve a clap, at least a congratulatory clap. Thank you very much, sir. Now we've come to the end of our session. Thank you very much for making it here. Those who joined us through TV, we thank you. Through Facebook, through City TV, we thank you. We thank our sponsors. More importantly, invited guests who made it here. The Deputy Minister for Communication, Honorable George Anda, the Cybersecurity Advisor, and the convener of this particular program, Dr. Albert Enchubwe-Siakon of the National Cybersecurity Center, NITA's presentation, GIFEC, Ghana Health Service, Accra Digital Center, the press, media. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us in this program. I believe that you've been informed and we now know Ghana's efforts in building our digital infrastructure. We have covered so much ground, but we know that there is more to cover. We thank you very much for your presence, and we believe that going forward with this government, we are going to really propel this country into the great digital age to be able to compete with other nations and the international community. Thank you very much for your presence.
kudala ngibona ngiphila kanje, ngibona ngiphila kanje, kungenxa yothando lwakhe. Mehlo wami afolewe, ndlebe zami zimamele, lomo wami uthetha naye, kuye yedwa. Kudala ngibona ngiphila kanje, ngibona ngiphila kanje, kungenxa yothando lwakhe. Mehlo wami apholiwe, ndlebe zami zimamele, lomo wami uthetha naye, kuye yedwa. Wavutha umlilo namalangabe, wavutha umlilo